Have you ever wondered if the world around you is real, or if it's just a sophisticated illusion, a digital mirage so convincing that you can't distinguish it from reality? What if your entire life, your memories, your feelings, even the people you love, were all part of a massive simulation designed to keep you engaged, tested, or maybe even distracted? This isn't just a wild idea from a sci-fi movie. It's a serious question debated by philosophers, scientists, and tech visionaries today. And here's the unsettling part. The more we learn about physics, technology, and consciousness, the more plausible the simulation theory begins to sound. But if life is a game, what kind of game is it, and how should we play it? Let's begin with the basics. The simulation theory proposes that our reality is not the base reality, but rather a computer-generated one. Imagine a civilization so advanced that it can create virtual worlds indistinguishable from reality. We've already started creating digital universes ourselves. Think of video games like open-world RPGs, with their incredible detail and immersion. Think of VR headsets that trick your senses into believing you're somewhere else entirely. Now imagine projecting this forward thousands, or even millions, of years. Couldn't future civilizations run simulations so complex that the characters inside them, beings like you and me, would be conscious, self-aware, and completely convinced that their world is the real one? This is the idea popularized by philosopher Nick Bostrom in his now famous paper, Are You Living in a Computer Simulation? He suggests that at least one of these statements must be true. Either civilizations never reach the level where they can create such simulations, or they can but choose not to, or they can and do. And if they do, the number of simulated realities would vastly outnumber the single base reality. Statistically, then, the odds are stacked against us. If simulations exist, it's more likely that we're inside one than not. But let's set aside probability for a moment. Think about what this means for your everyday life. If this world is a simulation, then maybe the rules we believe to be fixed, physics, time, even death, might only be part of the programming. Think about glitches in video games. A character walks through a wall, the physics engine fails, the code reveals itself. Have you ever experienced déjà vu, synchronicity, or strange coincidences that feel almost too scripted? Maybe these are not just random brain quirks, but tiny cracks in the simulation. Or maybe they're intentional hints, little Easter eggs left by the programmers to remind us to look deeper. Even science seems to point towards strange possibilities. Quantum physics reveals that particles behave differently when observed, almost as if reality renders only when we look at it, like graphics in a video game that only load when you move your character close enough. The universe is structured around mathematical laws so precise and elegant that they resemble computer code. In fact, some researchers have speculated that the universe's building blocks may literally contain bits of digital information, ones and zeros embedded in the fabric of reality. What if our cosmos is, in essence, a divine hard drive? Of course, some argue that this is pure speculation, a modern myth dressed in technological language. Yet ask yourself, would it really change much if we proved it tomorrow? Wouldn't your coffee still taste the same? Wouldn't your responsibilities, your joys, and your struggles still feel real? That's the paradox. If we're living in a simulation, it's indistinguishable from reality, and therefore, for all practical purposes, it is reality. But here's where it gets fascinating. If life is a game, then maybe the point isn't to question its existence, but to understand how to play it well. So how do we play? Look at games. Every game has three things: rules, goals, and players. In this simulation we call life, the rules seem to be physics, biology, and time. Gravity pulls us down, our bodies need energy, and our lives are finite. The goals? That's the tricky part. Unlike most games, the goals here aren't clearly defined. Some chase money, others chase love, power, or wisdom. Perhaps that's the design. Maybe the simulation is testing us to see which goals we choose, how we act under pressure, what values we embody. And the players? Well, that's us. Billions of conscious avatars are navigating this vast, open-world environment. But think about how you approach a video game. You don't just wander. You explore, you experiment, you level up your character. You take risks, you fail, you try again, all while knowing that failure is not the end, but part of the learning process. What if life is meant to be played the same way? What if setbacks aren't punishments, but built-in challenges meant to teach resilience, creativity, and courage? What if the hardships we face are the equivalent of boss fights? Tough, but designed to bring out the best in us. There's another layer too, morality. In games, you can usually choose to play as a hero or a villain, and the way you play shapes the story. Perhaps the simulation of life is testing our ethics. Will we exploit the system for selfish gain, or will we play cooperatively, lifting others? If the universe is observing us, maybe the ultimate scorecard is not wealth or fame, but virtue, wisdom, and compassion. Just like in multiplayer games, the real test might not be how far you get, but how you treated others along the way. And here's where the simulation theory becomes not just a mind-bending idea, but a deeply practical philosophy. Whether or not we're living in a programmed universe, thinking of life as a game changes how we interact with it. Games encourage curiosity, experimentation, persistence, and fun. They encourage us to see failures as temporary and victories as stepping stones. If life is a game, then the best players are not the ones who accumulate the most stuff, but the ones who master themselves, who explore deeply, who take bold moves, and who leave the world, or the simulation, better than they found it. So the real question is, what kind of player are you? Do you drift through the levels without intention? Or do you approach each day as an opportunity to improve your character, to master your environment, to level up your soul? Whether this reality is simulated or not, your choices still matter, your actions still shape the narrative, and your story is still being written right now. If life is a simulation, one of the most pressing questions becomes this: who is running it? Are we the creations of future humans testing out their history? Are we the products of some advanced alien civilization's experiment? Or is the programmer not a who at all, but something we can only describe as God, a consciousness so far beyond ours that it designed a system where souls enter to learn, evolve, and play? The mystery of the programmer might be unsolvable, but maybe that's the point. If you knew for sure who was running the simulation, the experiment would be ruined. Ambiguity keeps us striving, questioning, and searching for meaning. Let's think about purpose. In video games, the designers often embed hidden quests, secret achievements, and Easter eggs. Players who explore deeply, who pay attention to subtle clues, are rewarded with new layers of the story. What if life works the same way? Maybe synchronicities, unexpected opportunities, and moments of deep intuition are hidden quests calling us forward. Those who ignore them live only on the surface of the simulation. Those who notice them unlock a richer, more profound game. Isn't it possible that your life already contains these hidden missions, waiting for you to recognize them? This changes how we think about suffering, too. In most games, there's a learning curve. The early levels are easier, but as you advance, the challenges grow. Boss fights test all the skills you've learned along the way. Without them, you'd never grow into the strongest version of your character. If life is a simulation, then suffering might not be meaningless chaos. It could be the built-in challenge system. Painful, yes, but ultimately purposeful, designed to stretch your capacity, sharpen your wisdom, and reveal your strength. Think of the times in your life when you overcame something hard. Didn't it feel like you leveled up? Didn't it expand your abilities in a way nothing else could? And let's not forget, every simulation, every game, has a timer. In our case, that timer is death. The knowledge that our time here is limited forces us to make choices, to prioritize, to value experiences, and to love more fiercely. If life were endless, we might drift in circles, never committing, never risking. But knowing that the clock is ticking gives urgency, depth, and beauty to every moment. Maybe the ultimate design of this simulation is not to distract us, but to wake us up, to remind us that every second counts. Now, here's a question that takes the simulation theory into even deeper waters. What happens when the game ends? If our consciousness is simply a program, does it disappear when the simulation is shut down? Or does it transfer elsewhere, into another simulation, another level? Some traditions have spoken about reincarnation for centuries, describing life as a cycle of learning across multiple worlds. Could it be that what they called rebirth is simply moving to the next simulation, the next iteration? If that's true, then every choice you make here echoes beyond this round of the game. The quality of your play carries forward. But even without certainty, let's focus on what's clear. Seeing life as a simulation gives us a radical new perspective on control. You may not be able to alter the rules, gravity, time, mortality, but you can control how you play within them. You can choose your strategies, your values, your alliances. You can decide whether you'll play passively, letting the system push you around, or whether you'll play with intention, curiosity, and courage. In other words, you are not powerless. You are a player with agency. This idea is liberating. Imagine if you woke up tomorrow and thought, "This is my simulation. I'm not here just to survive, but to explore, to grow, to play fully." You'd start to see setbacks as part of the challenge. You'd see relationships as co-op missions, where your actions impact not only your path, but others. You'd see opportunities as quests waiting to be accepted. And instead of being crushed by the heaviness of life, you might feel a lightness, a willingness to try, to risk, to fail, and to rise again. Isn't that what good gameplay is all about? Let's push it one step further. What if the real test of the simulation isn't how much you achieve, but how you awaken to the fact that you're playing? Imagine two players. One drifts through life on autopilot, never questioning the nature of reality, chasing status and possessions as if the scoreboard of money were all that mattered. The other player realizes, wait, this is a game. The rules are here to challenge me, not to trap me. The true victory isn't collecting trophies, but transforming who I am. Which player do you think reaches the higher level? If life is a simulation, then perhaps the ultimate cheat code is awareness. To remember, moment by moment, that you are a player, not just a pawn. To step back and ask, what mission am I on? What values am I embodying? Am I treating others like non-playable characters to use, or as fellow players on their own quests? Am I trapped in the illusion of the surface, or am I looking for the hidden layers that give this simulation its deepest meaning? And maybe that's the message the simulation is trying to teach us. Not certainty, not final answers, but awakening. To play with awareness. To live fully, bravely, and compassionately. To know that even if this is just a game, the feelings are real, the choices are real, and the growth is real. Because games end, but what you become while playing, that's what truly lasts. So now I want to ask you, if life really is a simulation, how would you change the way you play it? Would you take more risks? Forgive more easily? Seek out deeper truths instead of shallow distractions? Share your thoughts in the comments, because I want to hear how you would play differently. And remember this, whether or not we are in a simulation, this is your life, your time, your chance. Don't waste it drifting. Play with purpose. Play with heart. Play to become the strongest, wisest, and most compassionate version of yourself. That, perhaps, is the real victory condition of this game. And if this video gave you something to think about, don't forget to like it and subscribe, so we can continue exploring life's biggest questions together.